Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way here. If you haven't been seated, please make your way to the seat so we can begin.
Okay, I'm standing here. No problem. Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to try, I hope you can see me here. I'm going to try to stand a little bit on the shade because of the sun. So let's begin. Honorable guest of honor, Honorable Simai Mohammed, Minister for Tourism and Heritage here in Zanzibar. The District Commissioner, Mr. Rashid Msaraka. Mr. Fayaz Vilani, the author of Tea with Miss Tanzania. Mr. Ismail Jusa, thank you for coming. And I hope Mr. Shirali Chipsi is here, making on his way. Thank you all for coming. Here as a master of ceremony today. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, honestly. Today we are celebrating Mr. Fayaz by launching his book, Tea with Miss Tanzania. I'm sure you're all excited, aren't you? I have tendency, if I can't be motivated enough, it's so hard for me to continue. So could you please, a big round of applause for Mr. Fayaz. Thank you so much for that. I truly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, as I don't want to waste more time. We've been waiting for quite some time here. So I would like to take this opportunity to kickstart our program. And allow me a few moments to introduce Afraz Adam Al-Nur Mulji. He is an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary artist, curator, lecturer, and scholar of ethnomusical ontology who works across disciplinary intersection to embody and serve as ambassador. His practice is epistemological centering of the narrative onto our communal differences. Their underpinning context, indeed, their intrinsically infrastic nature. They must work extensively with Aga Khan Development Network and numerous occasions teaching teaching at the Aga Khan University, and his ongoing tireless rendering of service as an esteemed advisor to the Aga Khan University Institute for Education Development. Ismaili National Councils globally, and an arts and culture strategist on the various projects. A warm welcome to Afraz, who will now officially introduce the esteemed, distinguished academic and author, Dr. Fayaz Vilani, the man we are all here to pay homage. A big round of applause for Afraz Adam. Tafadhali.
Mabibi na mabwana, ni furaha yangu na kwa hakika ni fahari kutambulisha mwanachuoni, mwanaandishi na mwanazuoni wa aina ya Fayaz Vilani. Nilikutana na Fayaz kupitia mwamvuli na chini ya uangalizi wa Conceptualism, kufikiria podcast niliyoanzisha. Wasomi wa kimataifa. Kupitia mazungumzo yetu, nilitambua na kutoa ushuhuda wa ufasaha, mvuto na muhimu usio wa kawaida ambayo Fayaz analeta mezani. Kupitia elimu yake iliyojengwa kwa kina na ustadi na uliothibitishwa na uthamini wa ndani kupita maarifa yaliyojumuishwa juu ya. Tuko kwenye furaha ya usomaji wa riwaya yake ambayo ni Chai na Miss Tanzania, kitabu ya hadithi za kihistoria na nyongeza nzuri Your Excellency, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my pleasure and honor to introduce an academic scholar of the exquisite caliber Fayaz Velani is. I met Fayaz through the auspices and under the aegis of the Conceptualism podcast series, which I founded. It serves as a living library which hosts conversations with the global intelligentsia. Through our dialogue, I recognized and bore witness to the uncommon lucidity, eloquence, and poignance Fayaz brings to the table through his deeply founded and versed erudition. As appreciation through embodied insights about life and the human condition as a whole. As such, we are in for a treat with the reading of his novel, Tea with Miss Tanzania, an opus of historical fiction and a great addition to the oeuvre of scholarship and penmanship pertinent to East Africa and the global narratives, stories about immigration and resettlement. Please join me collectively in welcoming my esteemed colleague, mentor, and friend, Dr. Fayaz Velani, who is a lecturer of critical writing at the University of Pennsylvania. Karibu sana, Fayaz.
Thank you for that warm welcome, and I appreciate all of you and your interest in this book. You meet this woman called Gulnar Jafar. She is a widow who lives in London, and she is writing to her estranged son, Zain, in Glasgow. Peyton was alluding to South Africa, while I am referring to Tanzania. I love Africa. But wait, you say, Africa is not album Mama Africa. I know you will point out that Africa is a continent, and furthermore, you will censure me for presuming to meld together a plethora of cultures and landscapes into one behemoth, Africa the Great. Let me explain. In what was then known as Tanganyika. How many people do you know who had the good fortune to be born in a place with such provenance? I am here to declare that Dar really did live up to its auspicious name. At least it did for a while. Read on, Zain. If it is not already obvious, I will state for the record delay, by the way, on the mic. Yeah, thank you. Assuredly, everyone has heard of the world's tallest freestanding mountain, Kilimanjaro, and the world's largest crater, the Ngorongoro, and of the magnificent Serengeti National Park, replete with lions, zebras, elephants, and wildebeest, and of Tanzania's beautiful coastlines and its rainforests. I have not even detailed the delights of Dar. The warmest I have encountered anywhere in the world. So I do love Tanzania with all my heart, For all these reasons and many more. My mouth, silhouetted in a crimson tinge of Yves Saint Laurent lipstick, and here's my clipped accent, whose received pronunciation suggests the mighty to the string of Chanel pearls adorning my neck. The thoughts emerge, privileged, colonizer, wealthy, educated. She loves Tanzania from a distance. At that fraught time, but I am not ashamed of it. How can anyone be responsible for the location of their birth? Perhaps people in my station ought to be grateful for the wonderful privileges that life has gifted them, and I am. You may go even further and say that people ought to give something back. Well, I am doing that too, right here on these sheets of paper. This story begins and ends with Africa. The continent is ensconced in my veins. Those of us who say that we love Africa do so because we love our countries of origin, no doubt. But this experience of geography is immaterial. It is a prodigious place, a vast assemblage of people, landscapes, and nation-states. But those who inhabit these nation-states belong to something greater still. Were this not true, why would the continent share a national anthem? As a child, I grew up singing God Bless Africa as Mungu Ibariki Africa, while Alan Paton would have sung the same tune with the words Nkosi Sikelele Africa. Africa lies at the core of my very being. This is my story of Africa, humble but heartfelt. Talking to her son, writing to her son Zain. Malaika, nakupenda malaika. Sometimes, taking the melody away enables you to hear it more clearly. That's how I feel since we lost your father. Like that endearing Tanzanian classic, Malaika, nakupenda malaika. My angel, I love you, my angel. Have you experienced true love, my angel? Don't talk to me about your Alicia Justice. I don't doubt that you really love her and that she Zain, do you understand what I'm saying? When you were little, I used to sing you to sleep with the refrain, Malaika, nakupenda, malaika. You are still my angel. True love transcends everything. True love was your father humming to me, Malaika, nakupenda, malaika. True love was my mother rocking me to sleep with Malaika, nakupenda, malaika. Is an unworthy substitute. I can feel you fighting this. Why? Now your father and grandmother are gone. The silence ushered in by your daddy's absence has shown me who I really am. In the wake of his death, everything is unraveling. When grief has you in its powerful grip, you feel the urge to surrender, to drown in your feelings of misery and never leave the bed again. Since losing your grandmother and your father, I have been tempted to succumb. Grief can be to capitulate, Let me get soaked to the skin, you think. Never mind fussing and faffing with this umbrella, which is only going to let me down in the end. There's something pure about missing the dead so viscerally. The pain makes you feel so alive. When I'm in the thick of such a storm, as I am now, do you know what gets me out, Zain? The thought of you, dear son. For even if we never meet again, I love you. That is enough for me, truly. She was a giant, though only 5 feet tall and unassuming in appearance. Her hennaed orange hair and benevolent smile remain emblazoned on my mind. Ma's father came from Kutch, British India's remotest output on the Arabian Sea. Try to imagine your grandmother at 12 years old, stepping off a trawler, setting foot on solid ground after weeks at sea. She was a mere girl, still playing with dolls when she was married to my father. Transported from the desert village of Mundra with her husband and father-in-law to a colony ruled by Germans and inhabited by Tanzanians, Arabs, Brits, and a few dry goods, as my father did. Ma suddenly finds herself in this strange new land, having to learn Swahili words so that she can survive. Jikoni, maziwa, mayai, asante. A woman who was never permitted to leave her home to fetch water is now mixing with all sorts of people who speak different languages, but she never complains. After her arrival in German East Africa in 1913, Ma got word that her father passed away. Her mother had. She is a 12-year-old orphan on a new continent. Her 3 younger sisters are now also orphans. These sisters are sent to Bombay and raised by strangers. She will see her sister just to imagine it. And imagine it I do, for my mother said very little about her feelings. We knew the history of events, but questions like, how did that make you feel, were not au fait in those days. In fact, I believe you made more headway in understanding your beloved grandmother than I did, my little truth digger. Just as Ma had to learn Swahili for her sustenance, you too learned rudimentary. You understood that particular dialect of love which your grandmother spoke, and she told you about her father, who would gaze into the palm trees sheltering his fields. Upon spotting his 4 daughters atop the trunk, he would call out, "Nar munji char chaklu bechin ai." Look, my 4 birds are sitting up there. Ma had tears in her eyes whenever she recalled this memory. Those tears represent our legacy of love, son. A father's love for his child, what a profound thing of beauty that is. I know what your father meant to you, so stay with me. My mother, Kulsum, at the age of 12, still a child really, is thrust onto the turbulent landscape of German East Africa. All we know of that time is what I have pieced together from your Auntie Roshan Ara's tales. She was not yet born, but like you, she possesses a gift for seeping stories into her brain. She was always so compassionate toward everyone. On the eve of the First World War, a German officer came to my parents' tent. They were staying in a makeshift camp and told them, "The British are coming. If you want to live, you must leave now." In the dark of night, my mother collected all the gold she possessed, gifted from her father for her marriage, wrapped it in a cloth, and placed it under her dress, securely fastening it around her waist. The three of them, At one point, while crossing a river, my father and grandfather waded in up to their knees while still dressed in their suits and carried Ma between them, hoisting her upon their shoulders. From my honeymoon story, you know what creatures lurk in Tanzania's rivers and how dangerous this would have been. From such humble beginnings, the gold trinkets hidden under Ma's dress, our first Kariako home with a storefront, a timber business, and finally, the townhouse in Upanga. So you see, you are not the only one who escaped my mom. I would never have left Tanzania of my own volition. But as with my mother, when the moment came to leave, there was scarcely a second to think twice. The only view of all I had lost was retrospective.
Description of Tanzania, like I've heard today by Fayaz, that was absolutely stunning. Aren't you a British Canadian writer? How did you know all of that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's going to build up a lot of our curiosity after this reading. Beautiful reading. So now I'd like to welcome on the stage Maisam. Is one of the renowned, say, youth activists here in Zanzibar, but more importantly, an entrepreneur. I could add more. He is a stylist. And Maisam will walk us through on the interview with Mr. Fayaz. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions. Perhaps your question will be answered here. A round of applause for Maisam and Mr. Fayaz. Are we ready for the interview? I know the sun doesn't do us justice, but are you ready for the interview? I can very much. Karibu, Maisam.
Hello. I'm also very happy to be with Honorable Mr. Simai, the Minister. Thank you for coming. The most interesting thing, I believe the story that he read to us today, it took us back many, many years ago. Around, we still have the same time because we don't even have to do hard imaginary work. It's everything exactly how it's supposed to be, but just a little bit modernized. So one of the first questions that I really want to ask you, because when I first heard Miss Tea with Miss Tanzania, I was like, wow, what's this tea about? What's a sip about? So when you came forward and started reading it, I was like, very, very intriguing. I just want to know what made you choose this name, Sip with Miss Tanzania.
Good question. Thank you, Maitham. So I grew up with stories about Tanzania, and or just an entirely new portrayal of Tanzania to audiences who know nothing about it. So that's
Actually, this is how we're going right now, because tea or coffee is part of our daily lives. It's not something like luxurious like how it used to be considered before. So even in Zanzibar right now, we don't meet over mix or mishkaki like before, but it's become more of a, let's meet over a coffee or a tea. Less of tea people actually, more of coffee nowadays. So yeah, another thing I need to ask you is what really inspired you to come forward and write this? Inspiration come from?
Sure. So the work is entirely fictional, but the inspiration came from two things. In Canada and the US being asked about Tanzania, I also incorporated my own experiences of sharing stories of Tanzania. So it's inspired by family history, but also my own experiences of, you encounter, most people don't even know where Tanzania is on a map. I've heard people say, oh, Tasmania? I said, no, that's stories.
Which is very impressive, because I saw you touched many things on the book. We can actually relate them to the tourism side of Tanzania. But also I need to ask you, is there any part based in Zanzibar?
So, yeah, I mean, the story is primarily set in London. There are descriptions of Zanzibar, but no actual scenes take place in Zanzibar, unfortunately. That's my next novel, yeah.
So I guess that will be Kahawa with Miss Zanzibar?
Kahawa with Miss Zanzibar, yes.
I've already given you a title right now. So when you're reading those parts, all right, those parts must have been let's say, your favorite part of the book. So why exactly are those parts your favorite parts?
That's a good question. I think what I want to convey with this character, Gulnar, is both her strength and her weakness. And I want you to see what her world is like. She has come from Tanzania, she has lost her son, and she's trying to win him back. So she's showing him her love, and that's why she's saying Malaika nakupenda Malaika. But she's also vulnerable. She's showing that, without my son in my life, I have nothing. So I wanted the reader, before you read anything, you have a sense of this character. She's a strong woman, but also vulnerable. And I think those two passages show that.
All right, as many authors I've come across with, when they write a book, all right, even if the characters are fictional, but they are somehow based on their friends, family members. So when you wrote this book, is there any part you wrote about yourself, but like you took your characters into the...
And the answer is no. I'm a very shy person, so I don't appear anywhere in this book. In fact, as the narrator, it's a second person from Gulnar to her son Zain. So I inhabited this woman writing to her son. So I'm not there at all. And in terms of the inspiration, there's a coming into your writing.
Of course, that's right. Another thing I need to get to know is that, when exactly everything has a challenge. When you were writing this book, what challenges did you face?
I think the number one challenge, and when I teach writing, I'm a lecturer, in writing, is knowing how to connect with your audience. Because I had two very different audiences, people assembled right here who know a lot. And so how do you write to them in a way that's authentic, that speaks to them? But also my bigger audience in the West of people, like I said, who was a continual challenge for me. And I hope and pray that I have achieved that balance.
That's also those social media posts to make sure that Tanzania get recognized worldwide. And also I saw a post recently, they even now we have had enough with your book. I need to know more about you, because before we go into your book, we need to know you exactly. So what kind of a person would you describe as? Are you an introvert, or what are you?
I'm definitely an introvert, but you can see that I love to travel, I love adventure. I've traveled to over 50 countries, I speak 7 languages, I love people, I love meeting people, so I would say I'm an extrovert.
So when you say you travel to different 50 countries, you must have had a lot of different adventures. Did you link up any of the stories into your book from your adventures?
I didn't. Like, for example, one adventure I had was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, but that doesn't... The common thing when we travel is we hear people's stories, and again, that was why I wanted to be a collection of stories about Tanzania.
So, why...
To be honest with you, if you may have heard, there was a famous film called Tea with Mussolini, and I kind of took my inspiration for the title Tea with Ms. Tanzania. So that's the first time I'm publicly acknowledging, but yeah, that was my inspiration.
I like that. So, you have a plan to write more about Tanzania.
Creative license. So you'll see later on in the book, for example, there are scenes in London with the famous events that happened there in 2011, and I was able to be completely free and not have to think about what actually happened. So I think being a fictional writer is what I'm going to stick to. I have written academic books, obviously, but yeah, I don't plan to reveal anything.
No worries. Give me this opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you for that. I started going on my researches to read more about you, but then there was nothing on social media. And I believe right now social media is a key to advertise your book, to get yourself known. So maybe you have a secret, because I see people are here without using a social media. So can you share that secret with us, please?
Yes, that's a good question. My personal social media accounts are private, it's true. But the reason I'm here is because I media to thank for that. So you won't find anything about me personally, but you'll find my work out there.
Nice. And I heard that you are into fashion.
Thank you. So yeah, and actually fashion is quite prominent here. You hear Gulnar, she's talking about her Chanel pearls and her colorful fashion. Done by my friend Tavia Nyongo. He grew up in Kenya, and I wanted to show a beautiful side of Africa, not the side of Africa people see often in the West. So fashion's important. In terms of my favorite designers, I would say anybody who uses color very prominently. Color, or you can see pattern, is something that's very important to me as well.
Right now in Tanzania, we have seen many upcoming fashion designers too. So you have a great chance. But you want you to continue on transition of giving back to the MC while you're singing to the fans. Thank you so much. Okay. My name is Maitham. It's good to have you today.
Should I go? Malai.
excited. Pointing out the insight, Maisam has done a wonderful job. A big round of applause for Maisam, please. You know, I was reading, and one of the author called Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is one of the Nigerian author, and one of the speech that she made is about the danger of in Tanzania and Zanzibar make us really, really confident, because they are telling our own story. We truly appreciate your honesty for bringing and and gentlemen, without further ado, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome in front of you our honorable guest of honor, Honorable Simai Mohammed, the Minister for Tourism and Heritage. For us, we call him Bakabasi. Makofi kwake tafadhali.
Wananchi waliokuwa hapa, afu na mimi nitazungumza.
To be here and to meet young Fayaz Velani. I have a question for you. What what is your connection with Tanzania? Do you have family links or?
Yes, good question. My mother and father were both born in Dar es Salaam, raised there, and my
we can claim you that.
I am a Zanzibari,
and
yes.
you're on for another Nobel Prize for literature, inshallah. In 10 years' time, maybe. But it's really great to have you here. And it's an honor for us that you're here to celebrate our country, and for us to see another luminary literate who is on to great many things. But you should come here as well and have a workshop program with students at SUSA, literature students, so they can learn at Pennsylvania on creative writing. And to much. Asanteni sana.
tunamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kutujalia katika uzinduzi huu wa kitabu. Lakini pia nichukue nafasi pia kukushukuru ndugu Fayaz, mwaliko ambao umefika katika ofisi yetu ya Wizara ya Utalii na Mambo ya Kale umekuwa unafuatiliwa kila siku, na ndio maana leo ilipofika saa 10 on time nilikuwa nishafika. Kwanza nathamini muda, lakini nikuhakikishie kwamba katika ratiba za kazi za wiki zote leo tulikuwa tumeshapanga saa 10 tutakuja katika uzinduzi wa kitabu. Kwa hiyo tunakushukuru kwa kutualika, lakini pia tunafurahi pia kwamba kitabu hichi umekuja kukizindua hapa Zanzibar. Ndugu zangu, leo ni siku ya furaha, na kwa kweli nilikuwa namuuliza hapa rafiki yangu pembeni, kwenye launching ya kitabu nini hasa utabidi useme uzungumze? Hakuna hotuba, inabidi nitachokisema itabidi nitoe kichwani kwangu, kwa sababu kawaida unapomwalika waziri unamletea na hotuba alafu ataipitia katika jinsi ambayo lugha anayotaka kuiweka tuweza kuizungumza. Kwa hiyo mimi nitazungumza katika mnasaba kuweza kutoa rai na kuwapa ushauri au kuzungumza yale yote yanayohusiana na siku ya leo kwa ufahamu wangu, na kama nitakosea nitakuombeni radhi. Kwa kweli kwanza tumefurahi sote Fayaz kwa kutushajiisha sote kuweza kutuleta kwa pamoja katika mandhari nzuri, japokuwa wengine hatukubaliani na mialiko ya saa 10. Tunapendaga mialiko hii iwe kwenye saa 11 na 1:30, lakini kuna kitu umekiona wewe umetuleta saa 10 kwa sababu ya chai yako. La pili, masuala ya uandishi, lazima ni acknowledge wale ambao wako hapa. Najua kina Faridi mnaandika, Alisale pamoja na Bwana Ahmed Rajab katika maandiko tofauti. Nafikiria Alisale yeye atakuwa anaongoza katika vitabu. Hata mimi naye tumeshirikiana katika kitabu cha miaka 50 cha Muungano. Ukimpelekea chapter Alisale baada ya 20 kisha kuletea jamaa kuandika kiboko hodari. Tumpigeni makofi bwana Alisale naye pia. Lakini pia nawapongeza wale wote, hata Faridi, maandiko yako tunaona kihistoria, kwa jambo zuri. Kwa nini natoa mfano wa wengine nyote mloko hapa kwa majina? Kwa sababu nakufahamuni. Lakini kubwa zaidi, utamaduni wa Zanzibari kusoma na kuandika umeshuka sana sasa hivi, hasa katika kujijengea ufahamu, kutafuta elimu, mbali elimu katika maskuli yetu, lakini kuwa na hamu ya kusoma vitabu vingine, lakini pia kujiongezea hata kama vitu vilivyokuwa online. Sasa naamini katika uzinduzi wa kitabu chako leo hapa itakuwa ni motisha kwa wengine ambao waliokuwepo, wawe mabalozi wazuri, kama rai aliyotoa ndugu Ahmed Rajab, kujaribu muda ukikuruhusu kwenda kutembelea katika vyuo vikuu kuweza kuzungumzia, ni jambo jema. Lakini katika masuala kuandika, sio lazima mtu aandike kitabu kikubwa kama hiki, sio lazima. Wengi hapa washaandika, najua nishasoma post za Jusa, post za Ahmed Rajab, za Faridi. Unasoma pengine katasi peji 3, lakini ukizisoma zina mambo mazito ndani yake ambayo yatakusaidia na kujifunza katika maisha yako. Kwa hiyo niseme tu kwamba kuandika sio lazima mtu andike kitabu. Ukitaka kusoma sio lazima usome kitabu kinene. Chochote utachokuta ukiona kama kuna hisi kinakufurahisha au kinakufanya upate kitu cha ziada katika akilini kwako au moyo wako, si vibaya ukakipitia. Zanzibar tumejaliwa, na ulizungumza pale kuhusu rangi. Mimi mara nyingi huwa ninasema kwamba ukipita njiani kama unataka kuandika kitu, basi Zanzibar hukosi. Kila pahala ukiangalia kuna story kutokana na mazingira ya nchi yetu, kisiwa chetu, utamaduni wetu na kila kitu kwa ujumla katika mjini, lakini hata na mashamba pia. Kwa hiyo tuzidi kuhamasisha watoto wetu kujenga utamaduni, the culture of reading and learning, na hakuna kidogo. Najua wengi mnafanya hiyo kazi, lakini sisi kama tuko serikalini tunaona kwamba lazima hii jambo liwe kubwa zaidi. Juzi tumeona kwamba tuna mwandishi maarufu duniani Abdulrazak Gurna, ni mtoto wetu, mzee wetu, wengine nyinyi rafiki zake mmekulia naye. Najua bwana Ahmed Rajab mtakuwa mnafahamiana vizuri. Furaha iliyokuja Zanzibar, kila mmoja ameweza kufurahia tuzo ile ambayo ameipata bwana Abdulrazak Gurna, kwa sababu moja kubwa, yeye mwenyewe anajidentify kama ni Mwafrika, lakini pia connection yake au jinsi alivyoishi katika maisha yake na hapa Zanzibar, bado Zanzibar ipo katika moyo wake. Na nafikiri ndio maana pale bwana Ahmed Rajab alipokuuliza kuna kitu aliona, kwa nini wewe leo umetuleta hapa? Kwa sababu na wewe pia Fayaz, ndani ya moyo wako Zanzibar ina nafasi kubwa kwako. Kwa hongera sana. Lakini pia katika uandishi ambao tunaozungumza, hatuwezi tukatoka tukasema tuandikeni vitabu, tushajihishe watoto wasome. Tunahitaji na sisi pia kuwa na kitu kikubwa. Kuna kijana mmoja, sijui kama mmemsikia, anaitwa Ali Baharun. Ana hamu sana, yupo kalikwa. There you go. Hebu simama tukuone, njoo mbele hapa. Njoo kabusoni, haya njoo. Huyu anaitwa Ali Baharun, memwona? Tumpigeni makofi. Memwona? Usiondoke hapo, nataka nimzungumzie huyu. Ali amekuwa tangu niko Wizara ya Elimu ananifuatilia sana. Ana ndoto yake moja tu yeye. Ali anataka tuanzisha the Zanzibar Book Fair. Lakini hawezi kuanza peke yake. Sasa lazima tusaidiane kwa pamoja. Juzi pia katika tamasha la Festac, Ali pia alikuwepo. Alipokuja Abdulrazak Gurna, Ali kanipigia simu, bana naomba nije kumpokea airport. Nikampitia Ali, tukaenda airport. Haya, Abdulrazak Gurna anaondoka, Ali ananipigia simu tena, naomba na mimi nije tena. Tukatoka tukamsindikiza airport. Kwa hiyo Ali ana hamu, Ali ana ndoto, anataka lazima utamaduni ule ambao tunaozungumza tuweze kurudisha. Sasa niwaombe hapa tulikopa sote kwa pamoja, tumsaidie Ali, tushirikiane naye kwa pamoja. Na mimi najua kazi zinakuwa zinanizonga wakati mwingine. Sitaki nikasema moja kwa moja nitachukua role gani, lakini nyinyi mliokuepo hapa leo tushirikiane na Ali ili ile Zanzibar Book Fair iwe. Nafikiria Ali na Ali Salem tayari mtakuwa hilo jambo mshanifahamu. Tutaanza kwa pamoja na kina Faridi, tushirikiane kwa pamoja na wote mliokuepo. Asante Ali, unaweza kwenda kukaa. Tumpigeni makofi tena Ali. Sasa kitabu hichi mimi sijapata fursa kukisoma, lakini nimejaribu kusikiliza pale vitu vingi ambavyo vimezungumzwa, na niseme tu kwamba kweli nchi yetu sisi Tanzania, ukienda nje mtu atakwambia saa nyingine where your Tasmania, mino inanikera nishaizoea. Where are you from? Tasmania, Tanzania. La. Lakini watu wanaijua Zanzibar kuliko Tanzania, hasa katika ukienda kwa upande wa Marekani, na ziko nchi pia katika upande wa Eastern Europe wanaijua Zanzibar, lakini hawajui kwa wapi. Juzi wakati tuko katika ziara Royal Tour, tupo Los Angeles, mtu mmoja nikamuuliza unaijua Zanzibar? Akaniambia hiyo siko wapi, karibia na Philippines. Yaani kutoka hapa katupeleka mpaka Philippines. Kama mbali sana. Sasa watu wanaijua nchi yetu, lakini pia wanaijua Zanzibar. Wengine wanatumia lugha kama ni an exotic island, lakini wewe unasema kama Zanzibar kweli ipo, maki mimi naona kama ni sehemu inazungumzwa, hakuna hichi kisiwa. Na kama kweli ukiingia kwenye Google Earth, ukivuta ile map kutoka Zanzibar mpaka unakwenda juu, mwisho kinajisa unakuwa hukioni kile kisiwa. Unaona Tanzania, maki ni kisiwa ukiangalia ni kidogo na dunia ni kubwa. Lakini kisiwa hichi chetu kidogo kina mambo mengi, kina historia kubwa, kina mambo mengi mazuri. Sasa tunafurahia kwa hilo jambo. Kwa tuchukue nafasi sasa katika swala la uandishi. Na mimi nazungumza hili katika uandishi katika masuala books, ya book writings, ya mambo ya kuandika novels, short essays. Lakini na ndoto yangu pia kubwa kwa Zanzibar pia tuna develop industry yetu ya filming ambayo itaenda sambamba, kwa sababu ukitaka mambo ya vitabu uandishi, tunataka tueneze masuala ya dramas, watoto waweze kuigiza, kwa sababu swala zima la creative industry tutahitaji pia watoto wawe wabunifu, waweze kufikiri. Na mtu kama husomi, huandiki, hii ndoto ambayo tunasifikiria tutaka tufike, tutakuwa hatuwezi kwenda. Kwa hiyo mimi nitajitahidi kwa niaba ya nafasi ambayo nilopewa dhamana na Mheshimiwa Rais kuweza kumsaidia kuyapigania yote haya na kutafuta mbinu kama alivyotuelekeza tuwe wabunifu. Kwa hiyo nitajitahidi. Haya, sasa nisichukue nafasi kuwachosha. Jua na karibia kuzama tena. It's a nice day leo. Najua wengine wanataka kwenda kufanya mambo na familia. For those I'm sure everybody speaks Swahili. I can see everyone here speaks Swahili. I'm sure I did not speak too fast, so I'm sure you caught some of the words. Thank you so much for everybody who have come to join today. An important day for Fayaz. I believe for his book launching in Zanzibar. For sure, he's done something somewhere, but we would like to own it and just call it the book launching here in Zanzibar. I'm not going to ask if you've launched it in America or Canada or Jamaica. We just know that this book was launched in Zanzibar, and that's how we are going to keep it. Sasa baada maelezo hayo machache, kama nilivyosema, sikujipanga kuzungumza mengi, lakini nimetaka tujumuike. Hii leo it's a family affair, tuko kwa pamoja sote. Nilikuwa kuna shughuli niende, nimehairisha. Nimeona pale kuna msosi, tutapata kidogo kuzungumza pamoja, tukacheka. Mambo haya yanavutia. Sasa baada maelezo hayo niliyosema, ndugu Fayaz na familia yako kama wako hapa, kwa niaba ya wananchi wote waliokuja hapa, kwa niaba pia ya wizara yetu ya utalii na mambo kale, sasa tunatambua rasmi tunakizindua kitabu chako hapa Zanzibar. Mama basi, tukamate pamoja. Kwa niaba ya wananchi, sawa For everybody. Tumpigeni makofi tena basi jamani. Asanteni kwa kunisikiliza. Mungu ibariki Zanzibar. Mungu aibariki Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Mungu aibariki bara letu la Afrika. Shukran.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Makofi kwake tafadhali. You know, thank you for such inspiring speech. Honestly, when he said, "Oh, sijajipanga, didn't actually plan," and I'm like, the way you're flowing doesn't say like you haven't actually sijajipanga or something like that. That's one of the things that our honorable minister is really good at, public speaking. Hongera sana. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the key takeaway of today from minister's speech is we have to promote the culture of reading. And it's really interesting because there is this, what I would like to call it a cliche. Most of people believe that in Africa, if you want to hide something, you hide it in the book because nobody...
So, najua sio kawaida. Kuna jambo muhimu ambalo tunatakiwa tulifikirie. Nafikiri na Bwana Ahmed Rajab, Ali Saleh na Jusa, kwa sababu hawa wana take interest na mambo ya siasa. Unajua bara la Afrika kila siku tunaandikwa wanavyotaka wao. Na mimi kila siku Jusa nasema haiwezekani CNN ikaizungumza kwenye Inside Africa na tuzungumza sisi Zanzibar. Na mara nyingi utakuta vipindi sio nchi yetu. Kwa lazima sisi tuandike, tujiongelee sisi wenyewe kwa uzuri wetu. Na tunapoandika tunakipeleka nje, kwa sababu sisi kama hatujizungumzi vizuri tutakuwa tunajiumiza. Jana nimeona Bwana Ali Saleh alitweet katika Twitter yake na akatoa kwamba Samuel Eto'o mchezaji maarufu yuko Zanzibar ikaenda. Hivi ndio tunapotakiwa tuwe, tujipromote sisi wenyewe uzuri wetu. Wakati mwingine tuna yetu ya ndani tuyafiche. Kwa hiyo nilikuwa nataka niliseme hili katika kona hii ya maandishi, kwa sababu uzuri wetu lazima usikike. Watu wakiendelea kutuandika sisi tunazidi hatufike. Na kwa nchi yetu tunachotaka uchumi wetu tuujenge, ni vizuri pia tukasikika vizuri. Wakati mwingine tunateleza, tunavumiliana, tunastahimiliana, ni mambo ya kawaida. I think it was an important message to say. Forgive me kwa kuinterrupt tena.
No worries. Asante sana. It was needed to be said. Asante sana, Honorable Minister. As I say, we need to promote the culture of reading. Say, if you want to hide something in Africa, you have to hide in the book and nobody will see it. So generally, I don't want to take much time on complimenting the speech. You've all heard it. It was absolutely spectacular. Now is the time for the photo. I'm trying to make sure the sun is kind of moving really fast now. So we're going to quickly move to the picture session, which will start with the high table. The cameraman, could you please stand forward? We'll start with the high table, and then could you take the high table? Is it fine? Okay, thanks. So now moving to the high table along with the organizers. Can we have protocol people, organizers, Mr. Farid, if we could have you there as well. And myself. So we're just gonna have a picture. DJ, could you please play the music so it won't be boring for some of the people? Yes, please, a little bit of soft music, that would do. And Helen, please, could you join us? Thank you very much. Thank you. And our last photo will be high table with some of the participants. Please make your way to the two groups. Let's start with the first group and the second group. Ladies and gentlemen, as people continue to take photos, I would like to acknowledge and thank one of their key sponsors, Zanzibar Cable TV. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Tifu TV, Zanzibar as well. Your presence made a difference. We truly appreciate you as well. What? DW Dutch Welle and TV, thank you so much. We truly appreciate your support. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who would like to have the book itself behind the bar, and tomorrow we're gonna have a special selling session at Freddie Mercury at 4 p.m. So you're warmly welcome. Thank you so much. Can we have the last group as well? The last group. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, today we've launched Tea with Miss Tanzania by Fayaz Filani here in the beautiful island, beautiful setting of islands of Zanzibar, what we call tropical, exotic beauty in a most serene Serena Hotel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, today we've celebrated Fayaz Filani for launching his book, Tea with Miss Tanzania book launch. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere appreciation to all of you for joining us today, and actually now marks the end of our event. However, it is the time to network. Don't go, network with people who are here. Enjoy conversation. For those who didn't have a chance to ask questions to Mr. Fayaz, you will have a chance now. Yes. It's a networking time. Enjoy the food. Enjoy chit-chat with the minister and Mr. Fayaz, the author. If you didn't have a chance to ask the question, it is the time to ask the question now. Again, I would like to thank our key sponsors of today, Serena Hotel, Zanzibar Cable TV, TIP TV, Pena TV. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Farida Nasr Mohammed. It was such a privilege to be your host for today. Thank you very much.